Hello, welcome to 8.9 News. I'm Ffinlo Costain. The film 6 Inches of Soil featured 3 farmers, each working to become more sustainable and regenerative. Adrienne Gordon set up the Sweetpea Market Garden in 2021, and the film followed her through the challenges and decisions of her first year in business. So what happened next? I caught up with Adrienne to find out, and for the benefit of those who haven't yet seen the film, I asked her to start by telling me a bit about her farm.
So I'm a market gardener. I grow salad, vegetables, and some fruit on 3 acres of rented land near Cambridgeshire.
Now, you're located on the edge of a large arable farm. How did that location and relationship come about?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting story. I volunteered at the Oxford Real Farming Conference. And that was, I think, 2020 during lockdown. So it was online, but there's always a notice board. And so I put a little digital notice on the notice board and basically saying I was looking for land and opportunities in East Anglia. Like I was willing to go quite broad. I grew up in Cambridgeshire, but Tom was the only person who got back to me. So it was, it feels very aligned that worked out. And he is a regenerative farmer. He is a family farm, a reasonable sized one. I can't remember the size. I think it's about 800 hectares. And he inherited the management of it about 8 years ago and has been transitioning to more regenerative practices.
So he's regenerative and you're organic. Are there any conflicts between the two systems being side by side?
No, it's amazing. We actually, so we've planted some agroforestry strips together. And the field next to mine, he is growing wild farmed wheat this year. So he's growing something that doesn't use any sprays. He's already insecticide and fungicide free. So in order to get the certification, he had to agree that he was going to leave a 10-meter strip between my growing spaces and his and be kind of considerate with that. So yeah, I'm really lucky.
Fantastic. Now, at the end of the film, we left you at the end of your first year trying to build up your business and earn a profit. 2 years on, how are things going for you?
They're going well. I think I'm in quite an amazing position that I'm in demand now. In my first year, I was trying to get into markets and being turned away. But there are lots of new markets being set up in our county, local village ones. And I actually can't do them all. They're not always very successful for me. But in some ways, I think if I could grow more, if I could increase my capacity, then I could sell more. So there's some figuring out there because you have to make a decision about how much time you're spending selling things and how much time you're spending delivering things. But yeah, so I've got some very successful markets. I'm starting a veg box scheme, and last year I also delivered veg bags for a local business. So they bought their staff as a kind of staff perk, a veg bag from me, which is a really great relationship and is still going really well.
At the end of the film, you weren't yet in profit, and I think you were living with your sister. Are you there yet?
I don't earn enough to pay myself a living wage. I am employing people and paying a living wage for them. I am also now taking a wage from the business, enough to cover my basic needs. But it's still not profitable.
And do you think that changes when you start growing more to meet that demand, that increased demand that you've been talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will get there, definitely. There is still some infrastructure that I need, like a cold store and possibly a small tractor, which I don't have the finance for. So at the moment, I need to find that money in order to scale to the point that it is viable.
And how did the film's release affect your business? I mean, you've mentioned that lots of markets are inviting you to take part. So does your celebrity status help?
I think A lot of that is just having been around and people knowing me and having confidence in what I'm doing. I think the film has, I definitely get a few customers coming to markets who've seen the film, but it's still not making a huge impact in terms of my local kind of customer base. And it's a very interesting one because I am supplying my local area. People further afield are asking for postal options, and I'm like, oh no, that's not that's not what I'm trying to do. But there are many more small local businesses, so I'm really trying to encourage people who watch the film to look for their local growers, because there are many of us and we're all worth supporting.
What else have you learned about your system and indeed about your customers since the end of filming?
So with my system, I'm on fairly heavy clay soil. So you saw in the film there was quite a big drought. Since then, it's actually been fairly wet non-stop. But I'm really focusing on mulching and getting lots of organic matter into the soil to improve that. And we've got ponds now, which are amazing and bringing in wildlife that I'm really happy about. In terms of customers, I've found that I actually do very well with selling plants and seedlings, vegetable seedlings, early on in the year, which is helping kind of boost my income at that time. Because at the local village markets, people might have an allotment themselves and not actually want to buy vegetables. So that's been really helpful. And also just learning where people are interested and where they're not in the county, and which markets work for me.
You mentioned your clay soil and the effect of drought and rain, but this last winter's been vicious. How has it affected you?
So I took January and February off, which was planned, and I worked in a cafe to cover my income, because I really struggled to get winter crops in the ground. So I'm definitely planning for the business to have a lower point at that time of the year, which is really helpful. And I really empathize with farmers. I know the farm manager at the farm where I'm based pulled a 36-hour shift without sleep, just to get the barley in the ground, because that was the only window available. I'm quite lucky in that because I'm not using tractors, I'm not damaging the soil, so I can get on it a bit sooner. But it's also been very cold, so things are a lot slower. So I'm just kind of winging it at the moment.
Now, mental well-being is something that you touched on in 6 Inches of Soil. Do you think that the market garden helps you with your own well-being and also with a sense of community well-being?
I think yes. I think in terms of my well-being, growing is really good for that, and sharing food and being with people. The financial stresses definitely counteract that. In terms of community, it's really brought my family together, and I'm just starting to reach out to the kind of local community and have some really great engagement from that. We're starting a farmers market in the village as part of that, and the network of other small businesses and local producers is really starting to grow, and that feels really positive.
That was Adrienne Gordon from the Sweetpea Market Garden. More news on our website, 8.9.com. That's all for now. We're back soon. Thanks for watching.